Rain, pain, and no gain. Red Bull, domination. Once again, that was Belgium.
We are going to be reviewing the Belgian Grand Prix weekend, where Red Bull continue to dominate, whether it's dry, whether it's wet, whether they've got a hole in the side of the car. Maybe not Perez. But Verstappen continues to dominate. That was the Belgian Grand Prix. Right, first of all, I want to start by saying, how good was the racing this weekend?
It was actually some very decent racing. You had some really good overtakes this weekend. I was really it felt nice because it felt like Formula 1 was back in a sense. There was good, there were literally, it was like on a knife edge. Some of the overtakes were, and all of them were clean, other than the odd one or two here and there. A couple of bumps, but it was all really, really clean. It was just good, proper, old school racing.
Definitely, and you watch Formula 1 for the racing, you watch it for the overtakes. No one realistically I agree with DRS. I feel like it's what we need at this moment in time. However, no one wants to see an overtake done halfway down the straight. They want to see it done in the corner, on the brakes or mid-corner, don't they?
Exactly.
And especially at Le Combe, at the end of the Kemmel Straight, there was some really, really good overtakes. Like Ocon, when he went around Sonoda, was it? He was he must have been inches all the way around the corner.
I wouldn't have even said inches.
It was absolutely perfect.
You probably couldn't even put, something Martin Brundle would say. You couldn't even probably put a piece of paper in between them.
Yeah.
It was that close.
And I think that is the epitome of Formula 1. Even though Ocon isn't considered one of the best drivers in Formula 1, it's that precision, it's that absolute skill that you get at the highest level in Formula 1 from everyone, from every driver. Barring Mazepin.
But he's not in it anymore, so we don't need to talk about him.
So we don't need to worry about him.
Probably first time mentioned.
So, we had a rain-soaked sprint race, which definitely made for an entertaining race. I mean, we always like the rain, especially when watching it on TV and not actually sitting in the stands.
Yeah. Rather on TV.
Because it makes entertaining racing. It makes for accidents. It makes for mistakes. It makes the whole show exciting, doesn't it?
I always say that the rain always brings out the good and the bad in the drivers. I always say it separates the elite from the not so elite.
Yeah.
You can see people who are. You can see the drivers who are confident in the rain. You have
absolutely.
Verstappen, for example.
Yeah.
He's king of the rain, let's face it.
Yeah, I mean Hamilton has always been known to be phenomenal in the rain.
Yeah.
But Verstappen
does beat him.
Isn't
he? Yeah, he does beat him. He's just got a sick sense for grip in the rain. He has, he knows where it is. Just
in general, and I think that's one of the reasons why he is the best driver on the grid at the moment.
Yeah.
Because he's got such a good feel for the car. Yeah. He knows
so much
exactly
confidence.
where he's placing the car. Yeah. He knows exactly how much he can push it. And that's why he can push it so far to the edge. Yeah. And that's why he gets his lap times,
Yeah, exactly.
That's why when Perez does a lap and he says it messes up with your head, because you do an amazing lap and then Verstappen goes and puts half a second in front of you.
It's just Perez must be thinking, how the hell is he doing that? I'm giving it everything. And, Max is still absolutely battering me.
Yeah.
It's how does he
Let's face it must be exhausting being Red Bull's second driver.
Yeah. It's never had a very good rep, has it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's never had a good
and
rep.
Obviously you have got the pressure to perform and you have got the pressure to somewhat compete with Verstappen.
Yeah.
And when Verstappen's pulling out lap times like he does, was it 8/10 in qualifying that he beat everyone by?
Something
he almost was out of Q2.
Yeah.
And then he just put it 8/10 in front of second. And you're like, what?
Exactly.
That is impossible.
I mean, obviously he did have his 5-place grid penalty as well because of his gearbox.
Not that would matter much.
I think it would probably be funny if you just chucked him at the back and just see what he could actually do.
Just an exhibition race or something.
Yeah.
Not non-championship event.
No, just do a championship race because he'll still probably win.
He'd still win.
But we just want to see how long it takes him to get to the front.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, that made for a really good sprint race. Really good overtakes. You had Oscar Piastri, absolutely clinical. He pitted straight away. Smart decision. He led the lap for about led the race for about 3 laps.
Yeah, roughly
3 or 4 laps. Obviously succumbed to Verstappen and Red Bull in the end, but a second place finish for this guy. I mean, he was born after Alonso made his debut.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And
It's
he's
crazy.
up there fighting for, let's face it, race wins.
Yeah.
He was never going to win the race because of the quality of Red Bull.
Yeah.
But, you know,
He would
he
have had.
finished second.
Yeah, he
It's
would have
great.
had a very good chance at finishing first, obviously, if Alonso didn't make a very rare mistake that we'd never see him do and actually spin. You know, bringing out the safety car.
Yeah, definitely.
He might have been close. Maybe Max might have just had him.
Yeah.
But you know, like Piastri was on for a really good one, weren't he?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's really good. That's one of the biggest takes I take from McLaren having their good upgrades.
Yeah.
You know, you've got two young drivers in Piastri and Lando Norris who are really, really flourishing the last few races.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good to see.
Yeah, they've literally been on fire
Yeah.
since those upgrades. Like, they haven't really, well, up until sprint race, they haven't really put a foot wrong. And then,
Yeah, exactly.
unfortunately for Oscar, like at the start of the race, you know, he went into turn one. I think it's like it's golden number one rule at Spa, never cut across the first corner.
Yeah.
Like that, because you've seen it in the past before. Like I can remember Verstappen doing it in 2016 when he went up the inside of Raikkonen and had a bit of bashing.
Yeah,
It's just not good.
obviously it wasn't so much going up the inside, but you had Grosjean.
Yeah,
I mean, what was that? 2012, is it? Something
2012.
like that?
Yeah,
And like Lewis Hamilton cars flying over top. You had when they first introduced the Halo and Alonso's car flying over Leclerc. Didn't
yeah.
You know, he's known in Belgium to be a real sort of mosh pit in turn one, lap one.
For such
So
a
you don't take risks, do you?
yeah, but for such a boring corner, in my opinion,
Yeah,
it
not much
always
happens.
throws up something really good,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it? Always.
Definitely.
Like, without fail, there's always a bit of a bumpy in it.
Yeah,
here
exactly.
And there, at least.
Maybe all turn ones should be really, really tight hairpins,
Yeah,
like Hungary,
Yeah.
like
Oh.
Belgium, just to, you know, throw a few curveballs in there from time to time.
Exactly, it's what you need on a racetrack, innit? On
Absolutely,
a classic racetrack.
Oh, of course. And, you know, Belgium is one track that we all know and all love because it is a classic track.
Yeah.
And you've got particularly a lot of street circuits nowadays, and they lack some sort of character,
Yeah.
don't they? Whereas you go places like Suzuka, Silverstone, Belgium, Monza, and they are the classic tracks.
Yeah, it's literally as it was,
Yeah.
you know.
And maybe it's because we're all used to them and we know what they're like that we love them so much.
Yeah,
And
And
they've
fond
had a
memories
chance
from
to
the past.
develop that character.
yeah.
But realistically, Belgium is outstanding.
It's a stonker of a
Absolutely
circuit, isn't
outstanding.
it?
Yeah.
Stunk. In my opinion, it's not the best circuit. But
Well,
obviously,
you know, I would probably be a bit favouriteist and say Silverstone.
yeah, I would, but
But
factually, Spa is probably the best
oh yeah,
on the
I
calendar.
mean,
Factually, I mean, I can't argue with that really.
yeah, and
No.
you know what? We got to the Sunday and it was a dry race. We had a rainy sprint race. We had I say dry, it was damp.
Yeah.
You know, and we had a bit of rain, but they were still on slicks, weren't they?
Yeah,
And it was a really, really good race.
Yeah.
You know, there were lots of really good moves, especially into Le Comp at the end of the Kemmel Straight. And that's the sort of racing that we look for when we
Yeah.
get to Belgium. And unfortunately, it's the sort of racing that we've almost been deprived of in recent years. You look at the 2021 race, and the rain just, well, there was no race.
yeah, there was
You know,
nothing.
There was no race. And there was always that fear that, you know, a track in the Ardennes Forest, it's going to be raining, it's going to be crap weather. Are they going to cancel it every year?
Yeah, I mean, ever since 21, if you're ever going to Spa to watch a race, you've got to have that feeling, that thought in the back of your head, thinking this might not even go ahead this weekend. Like if it's going to rain, you know, it's scary really because you know, you save up, you work hard for it, you save up for it, you probably book it a good 10, 11 months in advance.
Absolutely.
And then it comes round to it and you get
There's
nothing.
no way of predicting it, is
Yeah,
there?
and you get nothing.
You know, and Belgium isn't exactly one of the cheapest races, you know.
No.
It's meant to be more expensive than Silverstone,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I have to say was, you know, a small fortune this year.
God, yeah.
um,
We didn't have to sell a kidney or anything.
no, we've only got one kidney each. But yeah, Belgium's expensive.
Yeah.
And when the race is on, you get the quality. I won't say you get your money's worth because it is a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you get what you pay for, you know. You get really good racing.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Belgium. And there's always that fear that it's not going to happen. But thank God it did. We got all 44 laps. We got a grid start, and we got a really good race with some really good racing, really good overtakes. You know, and I think there's this another occasion, another instance of these new regulations are really working for Formula One.
Yeah.
You know, yes, Red Bull away in front, but you've had other eras where other teams have dominated as well. So you can sort of take that with a pinch of salt, really. But in the midfield, it's so jam-packed.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's anyone's game. You make a mistake, and that's it, mate. You've really damaged your race.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I looked at the points table today, and I think it was between AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, and Williams. There's literally like 2 points that separate the three of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely crazy, that, isn't it?
And it's clear to see that, you know, McLaren have brought some fantastic upgrades.
Yeah.
And they've gone from maybe 7th place team to arguably second,
yeah.
third best team.
Within the space of a few races.
Within the space of a couple of races, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're doing an absolute smashing job at the minute. I mean, I know we keep saying it, but they really are, and we can't stop saying it because it's really, really good, and it's good to see. Like, I don't even think you have to be a McLaren fan, but you're just really happy that, you know...
Yeah, and you know what? It's one of the classics, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to see the likes of Ferrari doing well.
Yeah.
If you're a Formula One fan, I mean, obviously, you know, us being Hamilton fans in 2017, 2018, you want to see Mercedes do better.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
It's nice to see Ferrari doing well.
Yeah,
it's nice to see McLaren doing well because these are the real classics. The Williams.
Yeah.
You know, you want to see those teams doing well. And I have to say, Williams looked strong as well.
Oh my God.
They were rapid.
It sort of reminds me of last year when their straight line speed was amazing, but it just seems to be even better this year.
Yeah.
I think at this point in the season, like towards the end of the European season, the summer break, Williams must think, like, this is our time now to get some really good points, because you've got tracks like Spa, tracks like Monza, long straights.
Yeah.
They've got so much straight line speed, it basically makes Red Bull look like a crap box in a straight line, you know, and that's saying something.
And like, that's amazing, isn't it? Because that Red Bull is rapid.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like their time to actually like jump ahead of a couple of more teams.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
absolutely.
And then towards the end of the season, it might just play out for them.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Well, hopefully, yeah. It would be good to see. I mean, one team that particularly had a good weekend performance-wise, but a bit of a unstable weekend, you would say, in the sort of management perspective, is Alpine.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see that personally. Yes, they've had 2 rubbish races where both cars have retired.
It's not
2
their
double
fault.
DNF. But it's not exactly Otmar Safnauer's fault. The fact that, you know,
not.
everyone decided to clatter into each other into turn 1 at Hungary.
Yeah. So I read that he said, you've got to be given time in this sport. You know, I don't like referring to football and F1, like comparing them, but I'm going to do it now. When a new manager comes in, okay, you want results straight away.
Yeah, of course.
But you've got to, you've got to be a bit patient. And Otmar said, like, he wasn't given enough time. And I don't believe he was given enough time either.
No, and I think especially, as I've said, about the new regulations, the climate that F1 is currently in, it is very much a sport of 1 week you can do bad, and then the next week,
you can have a really good race.
Brilliantly.
Yeah.
You know, Pierre Gasly finished 3rd in the sprint race.
Yeah.
You know, Gasly and Ocon were doing fantastic overtakes throughout the Grand Prix as well. You know, I mean, Gasly wasn't. I mean, he qualified decently, but you know, he finished 3rd.
Yeah.
He finished in front of. I mean, Perez retired eventually, but he finished in front of both Ferraris, didn't he?
Yeah.
And both Mercedes, 1 McLaren.
Yeah.
You know, that's absolutely outstanding, and he's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So it is really a topsy-turvy sort of climate in F1 at the moment, and so you can't really be judging too harshly.
No, but you also don't know what goes on behind closed doors either, do you?
Yeah.
You know, there's another thing as well. It's okay if you're bringing in results, decent results, but you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Like Jos Capito, like obviously he was team principal for Williams.
Definitely.
I really liked him.
He was all right,
and I believed that he would actually do well at Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, Williams was still in a bit of a struggle, pretty much the same as they are now. You can say they've improved a little bit this year, but he wasn't in that job role for long either. Probably,
exactly.
18 months. And
he's a guy with tremendous motorsport.
He's got
experience.
a very good CV.
Mainly in rallying, but very good CV.
Still got a very good CV, and you know, he was gone, and I was a bit like, well, what's going on here? But
it's a bit out of the blue, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like I said, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah, I definitely think it, like the same with football. When everything's going well, when results are going your way, everything's all hunky dory.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's all up for it, and everyone's happy, and no one's in trouble, no one's in danger. But when things aren't going the way you like it, you know, people start getting cut.
Yeah, you get given the boot, don't you?
Yeah,
and that's just the way it is.
And I think you mentioned about things going on behind the scenes. Alpine is quite famously, as Alpine and Renault, somewhat, you know, temperamental behind the scenes.
Yeah, you
maybe.
could say that, yeah.
Like, you know, you had Cyril a few years back, and
don't forget Alan was there as well.
Exactly, and he's left for certain reasons, and you've got also another senior member of the Alpine sort of leadership that has also left as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just Otmar.
Yeah, he's been there for like 30 odd years. You know, he was there ever since I was a kid, like I can remember him.
Yeah.
And he's gone, and it's a bit like, well, that is a bit of a shame, really, to end your career with a team you've been with, you know, pretty much all of your working life.
Yeah, definitely.
To end like that, it's a bit of a shame, really. But that is life, I suppose. It's sport.
Yeah, of course. And at the end of the day, they'll probably find themselves another job somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
That's major sport for you. As long as you've got a good CV and experience, then that is the sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
One sort of leadership that is very strong and definitely not going anywhere anytime soon is Christian Horner and his boys up at Red Bull.
Oh no, they're there for life.
And Merck, I would argue.
Yeah.
You know, Mercedes are quite. They had an all right race, didn't they?
Nothing too special.
It was blowing anyone out the water, but you know they just plodded along, and actually they got decent points, all things considered.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you had that clash with Hamilton and Perez.
Yeah.
And knocked a bit of a hole out the side of Perez's car. You know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah.
I would argue it's a bit of a racing incident.
I'd say so, yeah.
But maybe they're ruling it on the fact that he has actually damaged Perez's car.
Yeah, I mean, Perez did lose out.
If it was just a bit of a clash, then it would have been nothing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because Perez lost out on it massively.
And because obviously he had to retire.
It was one of them. It's like you can't not punish him.
Yeah, and it is difficult, isn't it? And obviously, if you then don't punish it, then you're making a precedent for any other sort of circumstance whereby they shouldn't get punished as well.
Exactly.
And you know, I mean, that is the problem of refereeing sports.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very dynamic environment.
Yeah.
And you are going to get very similar but slightly different.
Yeah, exactly.
Circumstances.
Yeah.
And it makes refereeing difficult.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it makes Red Bull's life a lot easier when they've got a car that doesn't really need to be battling with anyone. You know, they're miles in front, and they've shown it again. And you know, Verstappen won from 14th last year. He's won from 6th this year, and let's face it, it was never in doubt, was it?
Nah, let's put him in 18th next year.
Yeah,
if the car's still good.
Yeah,
put him in 18th.
Reverse grid next year, you know. Make
it sod it. Why not? Like,
you know, he's got to get through all the good ones first, and then.
Yeah, I was always against reverse grid, but now I'm starting to think maybe.
Yeah,
Max is still going to win, but it'd be really exciting. A bit more racing.
If you're going to do a reverse grid anywhere, do it at Belgium.
Yeah, exactly.
Plenty of time to overtake.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be quite good, to be fair, just to see it just once, just see what he can do.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, it would be really interesting, really exciting to see. To be fair,
I'd say top 3, definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
So, I mean, we had a weekend of ups and downs from many teams. We had a couple of retirements. Alonso went spinning off and out of the sprint race. I mean, that is very unlike him to make a mistake.
I didn't believe Crofty when he said it was Alonso. I was like, no, come on, that's our mate Lance. Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's got to be Lance Stroll.
You see the back of his helmet, you're like
squinting, like rubbing your eyes. You're like, oh my god, it's Alonso.
Very rare mistake from him, I must say.
Definitely.
I mean, whenever do you see Fernando make a mistake?
Very rare. Very
never.
Very rare. Yeah.
You know, never.
And I mean, that's experience and quality. That gets you, and then obviously, very rare mistake. So I mean, it was definitely a weekend of ups and downs for many teams. And,
definitely.
It made for an eventful race in both the sprint race and the main race.
Yeah.
And now we reach a summer break. So
we don't know what we're going to do with ourselves.
We're going to crawl back into our caves, and you might not see us for another few weeks.
No,
we'll put some stuff
We'll
up.
do something for
But
you.
yeah, that means that we'll have nothing to do. We'll be twiddling our thumbs for a little bit.
We'll just get on each other's nerves for a few weeks. Why not?
Why not?
Know?
Yeah. So
you won't see me for a bit, but I'm sure you'll stick around.
Absolutely. I mean, the fans come for me anyway, don't they? So
yeah, I'm just here to edit the video.
So that brings us to an end. That is our summary of the Belgian Grand Prix weekend, our third sprint weekend of the year, made for a really, really exciting race on both Saturday and Sunday. And we've been Yam Yam with one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Ta-ra a bit.
Kraken.